My name is Rocky Dawuni. I am from Ghana in West Africa. I'm also a musician, first of all, a United Nations Environment Program ambassador for the rest of Africa, and then also president of the Rocky Dawuni Foundation, which works on youth empowerment through culture. Basically, I was invited about this incredible gathering right now. And I say incredible because it is also coinciding with the anniversary of the Berlin conference, that November 15th, that actually resulted in the partition of Africa and also the scramble for Africa, and also created the character of what Africa is today. So this conference gathering, various minds and thought leaders, influencers, artists to come around and start to deliberate about the philosophy of a borderless Africa, for me, is something that resonated with me, because I feel that, granted, at the dawn of independence, especially when Ghana was independent, in 57, our great leader, Osadefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was a very fearless advocate for the unification of the continent as a means of undoing, the partition, and also positioning the continent on a platform of economic independence to be able to be masters of its own affairs. And that vision was never, realized in terms of really in reality. But I feel that this generation has an opportunity to revisit this vision, because as we can see, since the dawn of independence, since our great leaders actually gathered right here in Addis Ababa under the auspices of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie for the vision of a united Africa, this generation has the tools of technology, the tools of knowledge of years of the system, how the system has actually played a role in Africa at this dawn right now is more divided than ever. We don't have control of our own resources. The leadership that everybody is striving for is not leadership that is actually out there working on the side of elevating the aspirations of the people, and also even the evolving democratic institutions that have, the continent has experimented with, has not delivered the outcome that people have expected. So there's a need for us to look at the drawing board and go right back to factory settings and start it again. And I feel that the capacity of this generation to have that foreknowledge and define the new, shall I say, parameters of this unification is a matter of time, it's a matter of now. And so when I was invited, I really came here because I felt that the concept of a borderless Africa, where, we literally eliminate visa fees, is an important, element to make sure that all of the countries, people can move, across each country freely. And I believe that when we set that foundation, then we can be able to now create all the other things that are important in terms of owning our own voice and ultimately the unity of our people. I feel that language is not a barrier. Language is a spiritual thing. And I think that language well used is a sort of pride. It's a source of pride. It's a source of empowerment. It's a source of also, sharing who you are with the world. When Salif Keita's song Yake Yake was a big song across Europe, nobody really knew what he was talking about, but everybody grooved because it was on the dance floor, because the language of conversation was the groove of the song, and then also the choruses in the song. So language can be used in terms of, it does not become an impediment in terms of communication, but it is important when you know which audiences you are communicating to. let's say you have a message, and the message is a universal message, a message of trying to inspire people across not only your people, but people across the globe. You have to speak or sing in a language that you feel can have resonance with people who are not of your own kind, and people who are, apart from the groove really driving them. If the objective is for the content of the music, then they have to be able to hear and understand what you're saying. So language becomes important as to the choice that you make on that language. But at the same time, those same messages can also be reconfigured to sing in your own, let's say, ethnic local dialect, and appeal to the people who are listening. At the same time, too, those people who will gravitate towards the English versions of that will gravitate towards that because they can feel the energy and the spirit of the music. And I believe that that in itself transcends language, because music itself, within itself, is language. And music is something higher than language. So if you express yourself in the power of music, I feel that, it becomes, the universe becomes your area of engagement. My call to action is that, we have no time. Africa has no time at all. Our time is now. Our great fathers met here in the 60s and wanted to unite the continent right here, place that we are standing right here. And in the long run, there were two schools. One said that we should wait several years and take it slowly, and others said it should happen right away. And then here we are, after those who said slowly have won the day, and we have made that actually the definitive vision of the African Union. Eventually, what happened was that here we are in a continent more divided, a continent that doesn't own its own resources, a continent that has the biggest youth population, the biggest, should I say, human resources. But at the same time, too, we don't have we don't own our systems. We don't own our resources. We don't own our means to really power this generation. So that means that the unity of the continent has to happen right now. And I feel that we have to refresh that call to action of a borderless Africa, where right now we have to rise beyond the identity of individual nations, the identity that existed prior to 1884, where names like Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, and all that did not exist, and go back to prior to that, the people who engaged themselves, the people who loved themselves, the people who saw their identity defined by their cultural, their cultural integrity and their shared culture. I believe that that should be where we have to go. We have to imagine a new Africa that unites right now, a new Africa that takes control of its own destiny, a new Africa that is powered by the new youth who are endowed on this continent. At the same time, too, protection of our resources, and then also taking control of our resources so that we can lead the world and stop being the follower of others.